Yo, what's going on, everyone? And welcome to another episode of Under the Scope podcast. I am very, very excited. This is today we have our special guest again. Everyone's our special guest here at the podcast, at the Under the Scope podcast. But today we actually I get to interview a good friend. I've known him for a very, very long time. He's been part of the community. He's been in the esports industry for a long time as well. I won't tell his story. I'll let him tell his story, but I'm actually really excited that he accepted coming on to the show and be able to tell us a little bit about himself. All right. So without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce Synthurley. All right, the man of the hour, and then you guys can actually, again, hear his side of the things, ask some questions as we go, and yeah, I'm excited to bring him on board. So, all right, without further ado, let's go ahead and do that. Yo, what's up, Synthurley?
Yo, what's going on, everybody? How you doing, brother?
Oh man, doing well. Yo, listen,
Awesome.
man, you're always looking sharp, brother, and your background, oof, immaculate. Love it, bro.
Appreciate it. Appreciate that.
So, Synthurley, tell us, man. We always start the podcast with asking this question: where did Synthurley come from? Where did you get your gamer tag?
Okay, yeah. It's kind of simple to me when I put it in the terms that I'll say.
Okay.
But growing up, I've always been a very musical person, and was in band like in school traditionally, but then was also in like a quote unquote rock band, kind of like indie alternative band. So going through that era of time, so like 2006 is when I first came up with this gamer tag. That wasn't my very first gamer tag, but this is the one I came up with that was like more me, more unique. Like there's never been a duplicate of it. So when in the band that I was in, I played the keyboards or the synth, and the style that was around that era, I was wearing a lot of Hurley shirts. So I'm sure a lot of people know of the brand Hurley, especially on that West Coast. So I mean, surfing and all that kind of stuff. I don't know why I don't surf. I live in Texas, but like just their style of clothes and T-shirts were just always awesome. Colors were they popped, something that you did in that era. So I just combined the two things that I was really involved in. So playing the synth, Hurley, mesh those two together, share the H, you get Synthurley. And so you see it here, you see it there behind me, you see it underneath on the video right here. So yeah, it's a pretty simple, interesting story, like very unique.
So it's amazing, bro. It's so now I know. See, I actually did not know how you got Synthurley. I thought I knew, but when you said it, I did not know.
Yeah, most people like they're always super surprised. They're like, "You were in a band? Like you played music?" And so like on if you go to my Twitch, there's like a channel, a point redemption. It's like I'll play you some of my old band's music if you redeem it. It's
Really?
pretty funny. So people are pretty surprised. Like,
Wait.
I'll
What
just
kind
go
of
back into
band?
the story. Yeah,
What kind
so it
of
was
band?
like I said, it was like a pop rock kind of band. So any of the bands that you can think of from like the 2006 era. I know you're a little bit wiser than I am, and so I'm a few years younger than you are. But like the era that I grew up in the early 2000s, like going through high school and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So stuff like that is like very pop rocky, fun kind of stuff. It could go the spectrum of quote unquote pop rock can go from here to there.
Okay. Well, I mean, I
But it
grew
was really
up.
fun.
I grew up listening to all kinds of rock, alternative, ska. So
Yeah.
and I did that because of my wife. My wife loves ska.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
but
ska was awesome. Like in high school, I listened to everything too in ska. So like I said, traditionally I was in band and like school through all that. So like playing the trumpet was what my main instrument was. Um, like ska, like always you'd hear cool stuff like Snarky Puppy. Like I don't know if you know
yeah,
Snarky Puppy, dude. Like
yeah,
Snarky Puppy is amazing. Like so
yeah.
stuff like that. So dude,
Now, tell us about Synthurley. Who is the guy behind the gamer tag? Who are you, man? You can share as much as you want
Synthurley.
and as little as you want, bro. Okay, so
Oh yeah. As a person,
yep.
I know in the intro, I know you said you know my name and everything, but I mean it's fine. It's right there on my bio and all that stuff. My name is Jonathan, but so that's the person behind the gamer tag Synthurley. That's the name. Um, and I love gaming, dude. I've grown up in it, grown up ever since I was little. Like it's always been something to be a part of, like gaming, music, technology, like all these worlds collide. And we were kind of talking about it a little bit before we went in the podcast. It's like so by trade, I am a sound engineer, like technical training. That's my trade. I'm a sound engineer. I work in the church world, um, and so like production and all that kind of stuff. So it's crazy how over the years you see video games sort of evolve into um, basically productions. Like if you watch any kind of esport, professional esport, it's huge
Yeah,
productions, and
they do.
it's kind of like caught in the middle. Like I'm kind of torn in between each side. Whether I want to go, it's all like, oh, I love gaming, I love audio, I love lights, I love video, I love all this, everything. It's just been awesome growing up in the era that I have, and just to be lucky to do that. But yeah, like I said, I'm a gamer, musician, all that kind of thing. Love music. I collect vinyl records. I collect Funko Pops. You see me, vinyl figures behind me. A lot of stuff just like more in line with like my childhood. So like Power Rangers were really big when I was a kid. So I got a bunch of Power Ranger pops. Like you see the big Stay Puffed up there behind me as well. Like Ghostbusters were amazing. The Karate Kid, just stuff like that. I'm very sentimental and like those memories mean a lot. And so yeah, I like to have fun. I'm very chill. Like to spread love, peace, positivity all around. I mean, we game each other. Like, yeah, I'll get aggravated. Oh man, I'm dying. I'm not doing anything. I'm chalk. But we usually try to keep a positive mindset because throughout your day, whatever you're doing, this is for me. Like, I wake up. Obviously, like I said, I work in the church world, so I do. I am a religious person myself. So, but like, I always just speak things of positivity and all that and stuff like that in mind. And you want to carry that through on you because what you surround yourself with, like, that's what you're going to become. Whether your friends, your roommates, the area you live in, like, you just always want to start positive and keep it going positive. Because if you're always around negativity, you're spreading negativity by the words you speak in your mouth. Um, that's what you're going to surround yourself by. So if I'm putting out positivity, people call it karma, whatever, but like what goes around comes around, that kind of thing. You always just kind of keep it positive, very positive person. Like on this microphone right here, I have this wristband that was like kind of it says "You Matter" on it, and I've kind of taken it over. So actually, the story behind this wristband, it was at a donut truck, and so it was at a food truck park, and they had like a donut truck, and then I went up there and I was like, "Oh, these are really cool. Like, what's the story behind this?" And they were like, I went and got the backstory of it. The owner of it is like, yeah, my childhood. We had some things reflected in our childhoods together, and he's like, it's just something I didn't grow up hearing. And just to a little bit deeper in the story, like I'm a Hispanic male. He was a Hispanic male. He's gone out there. You can probably relate to this too. It's like the heritage we grow up in. It, percentage is very very low that children, let alone boys that grow up to men, ever hear that.
Yep.
And so that's just something I'm like, we can change that. Like, there's no reason not to. Obviously, like generational growth is over time will always grow and change. But so it's like, I want to be the one to start that in my sphere of influence. So anybody I talk to, anybody I game with, try to spread the positivity. It's been really cool to some of the people I've met across gaming. Like we've met across gaming. I'm sure
Yeah.
we'll dive into that story, but while we're talking about this, it's like it's just sparked interesting conversations, and just makes me very happy.
What is it that, how did you get into, obviously we talked about in gaming. I know you've been in this for a long time, right? But how did you
Yeah.
get into the whole gaming esports side of things?
Oh man. So let's see. I guess the first like e-sport experience, dude. I remember watching like Halo and stuff on USA on the
Yeah.
cable TV. And like that was like around that same time point, 2000 like 5, 2006, and all that. Like before, like when Halo 3 came out, and that was on TV. And me and my cousins, I remember buying. They had an Xbox 360, so they would split screen. So I'd go to their house and like we'd play. And then finally in 2007, I was able to buy my own
Yeah.
Xbox. Like I saved up, man, Xbox 360, the arcade with like the 50 gig hard drive, bro.
Yeah, I
Like
remember.
and I just that, and I had Halo 3, and then we played that for a long time, and then got introduced to COD, and then through Call of Duty, which has been, I guess, you can call it my main platform, my main game that I've been playing all these years, but getting into esports. So you remember like Modern Warfare? I believe it was Modern Warfare 3. I think I posted a tweet about this. I posted like the COD Elite Founders Edition picture. If you go to my Twitter, you'll see that picture. I was like, man, who remembers Call of Duty Elite? Which is basically like clan wars before they became like more structured clan wars, because like you enter those with a team, you can win prizes. They were like reaching out to the pub side of things in COD. I mean, for Call of Duty itself, there wasn't really a huge like it wasn't a massive scene as far as a professional platform. But
Yeah.
like that's where all this stuff started. Like back in the day, hop on playing with your quote unquote clan, your boys. You just get on like you're playing, and then COD Elite came out, and then they're like, hey man, we're pretty good at this. And so there's a few players that were out, and they're like, there's local tournaments and stuff. We're like, okay, let's go with this. So back in like 2008 was the first year that I believe it's 2008. We took a team to an UMG. So everybody remembers MLG, but before that too, there was UMG was around. Um, and there was a UMG tournament in the Dallas Fort Worth area, and so we flew some people out there. It was really fun just to go see everybody. I believe Envy ended up winning that tournament, um, which is really cool to be a part of. But like I remember seeing some of the people that are massive right now, professionals, like back when they were kids. Because I mean, obviously, like the team we took, where they were a little bit younger than me. I was a little bit older, so it's like, hey, you're gonna be the dad of the trip. So we go to this tournament, and then like, hey, all right, pick you up from the airport. We're taking you to the hotel. Luckily, at that time, the venue was the hotel, so you didn't have to take him anywhere else.
Yep.
But I just remember like the team that took us out was Soar, is the old Soar team with Methods, and to see where he's at today is insane. Like he was a little kid playing, and look where he's at. It's crazy. And there's a bunch of professionals, so I was able to build those relationships over time. But that organization I was with, which no longer exists anymore, was called Lethal Gaming. And just over the years, it sort of evolved. We got more involved and more going to more tournaments and stuff, and that's how we met.
Yep.
Back when you were with Mutiny, I'm sure
Yep.
everybody heard the story in the background of Mutiny and all that. And I remember because there wasn't a lot of as far as like organization owners that looked like. I mean, Hex was the only Hispanic one that we knew for a long time, and then
Yeah.
you were trying to do your own thing. I believe like he sparked a lot of what we're doing today in a lot of us, especially you, to see the path that you've gone, every venture that you've started and
Yeah.
gone through. I believe that that's been a possibility, and y'all are being around the similar age too. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
just seeing that someone that like yourself can do it, um, was probably a big Kickstarter and a jump for you. But yeah, that's how we met. We borrowed some of your players at one point,
Yeah.
all this stuff. But like just going through it, there's a wild ride, man. Like the
Yeah.
tournament scene, those open bracket pits, dude, were terrible. Like I know you remember going down. I believe it was an MLG in Dallas.
I
Y'all were here.
remember.
You had a team here, and you had somebody on like your staff or something with their kid. They had a baby, and I
Yep.
remember seeing the little
It
mutiny jumper.
was it was my business partner and his girl and his
Yeah,
baby.
yeah. But that open bracket pit, they put us in like a freaking 30-foot wide by 10-foot deep section. They had to squeeze hundreds of people in there. That was awful. But I
It
remember
was
that's the first
horrible. It was
time.
hot, bro. Low
Sweaty,
ceiling,
stinky.
dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Yep.
bad. But just to see where it has evolved and grown to, like esports stadiums here in Dallas Fort Worth. There's the Arlington Esports Stadium. All these
100,000 square
pop-ups
feet,
coming
right?
in. Yeah, it's massive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the stuff that you're doing and all this stuff, like there's it's crazy the growth, and I think it's still in its infant stage, even though it's like as big as it is. I
Yeah.
think it's still in its infancy, and there's a lot of room to grow.
No, I believe so too, man. And it's crazy because you're talking and all these like memories are just like
Yeah,
hitting me at once, you know?
yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, what I was saying, so there was like a lot of local teams, like people that are part of like locals, like there was scenes in different pockets across the U.S. You had like Texas, Florida, the Northwest, Jersey, New York, Philly, L.A., California. Y'all had like everybody had their own scenes, but like for the investment and the amount of time to now that I look back on it, like we could have done way better doing it. We spent, I mean, having to reach out and get investors and like, hey, it's not cheap to fly a team and a manager and whoever else
Yeah.
across the country. So like that team that Reviction was on that we flew out, all those kids were Cali kids. Had to fly those kids from California to Washington D.C. Make sure they got there with all their stuff, and it's like it's crazy. Like the scene used to be so different, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised it lasted as long as it did at that stage of it, because it's like I remember having conversations with players' parents like, so you're gonna pay for my son's plane ticket and hotel, he's gonna play in this tournament and all that. And like, it's crazy, but the opportunity that I've had brings up a lot of good memories. Just the players and that played for us, and then that I got to meet and have a relationship built around is it's insane. It's awesome. And then
Versus
back in
now.
the day, that grind was actually fun to go out and look for sponsorships. Like, fortunately, like at that point in time, I had a lot of free time with the job that I was at, because I was working for a school, but I only worked 5 months out of the year.
Yeah.
And so, like, I would work 5 months, and then I have all this extra time to focus on our organization, our esports teams, whatever we needed to do. So, like, I was grinding day in, day out. Like, Twitter was like huge, because that was basically your main platform, but and then like Twitch, obviously, but like Twitter, everybody had a Twitter. You reach out on Twitter, you build this following, and I remember like the sponsorships we went through. Like, I think the first one we ever got was Wicked controllers. You remember Wicked controllers?
Yes, I do.
So we had them for a short period of time, but then like not. I mean, it's bad. It's like we used them as a stepping stone. Obviously, that's what most people do in the
They
corporate
did.
world, right? They're climbing a ladder and all that using stepping stone. Like I just remember like over the 5 year span that I was like head of like the esports chapter or whatever part of our organization's like, okay, Wicked, and then we got to um, Battle Beaver when they first started.
Battle Beaver, I
So
remember
Battle
them.
Beaver when they very first started, I mean, they're still around. They're actually a local company here to Dallas area. But I remember going from them, and then like kept building our growth, and then back right around that time is when our team started doing well in like the 2Ks. That was a big thing. Remember the 2Ks every
Mm-hmm.
weekend, 2Ks and 5Ks, whatever. And then so we started getting a little bit more recognition. And then I remember when we got Turtle Beach before Optic did, and I remember the reach that we had was insane. I remember the first as an organization. I'm not gonna get deep into it, but like it was nuts what we were able to do as a quote unquote small local amateur team to do all that, like Turtle Beach, and then we eventually got onto the Scuff and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, just to seeing like the growth from the grind back in the day is like what all you could do, and like we just said, like we were going walking around with a backpack, or we had all of our players had Scuffs, all of our players had matching Turtle Beaches. It was just like a cool thing. Like you knew you quote unquote arrived when you walk into a venue. You're squatted out with jerseys all the same. They're wearing all the same backpacks with your logo on it. People are like, "Dang, dude!" And then they're going and buying. You would see it in the numbers behind the scenes, like on the business side afterwards. But
Dude,
they
it
really
was
did
so
lose
fun.
that. They really did lose that. Like the grind was fun back in the day, and now the grind is almost it's nearly unattainable.
Like there was a chance where there was a time, I should say, when there was money to be made, and it was easier for these bigger organizations to make money because the smaller ones were making money. And
Yeah.
so because of that, they allowed for people also to spend money on trying to be just like the bigger orgs, represent the bigger orgs, and it was just more exciting back in the days,
Yeah.
it was more excitement than it was toxic. Yeah, it was. That's the thing. And so you got hyped up, and that's what it was, man. You're hype, and yeah, there's trash talking, bro. But come on, what game and real traditional sports is they're not, look at boxers, man. They get on their face. Sometimes they smack each other before the fight. They push each
Right.
other. Then they go put gloves on, and then at the end of the, hey, man,
Shake hands.
good
Good. Yeah.
show, man. We got all these suckers to buy our fight, and that's what it is,
It's
bro.
true.
That's
And then
exactly what it is.
yeah, one thing to add on to it is like
Yeah.
you're never gonna see it again because they have it separated, right? Challengers and the Pro League. Like back in the
Yeah.
day, you could make it out of the pit, and then you're in bracket and you're playing teams.
Yeah.
And like there was actually something to play for as an amateur, and knowing that there was a shot, because like I can remember in our situation we had, so I don't know if everybody remembers Proto. Like Proto played for us, did
Yeah,
awesome.
Proto. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then obviously he was connected with like all the E6 guys, so Jordan General and all that. So I remember when they went out their first event at UMG Cali in
Yep.
Ontario. I remember meeting his parents and all that. I mean, awesome people, that whole team, and eventually Cade and M. Ruiz and all them played for us too.
Yeah.
But like for him, like when the CWL first started, hey, he was on a pro team. Jet Li. I think Jet Li was one of your players
Jet
too.
Li was one of my
Yeah,
players
he was one
too.
of your players. He made it. He made it to the pro league. Like
Mm-hmm.
there was opportunity there. I remember UMG DC, that team that we had Reviction and Neglect and all them. We played Optic Nation, so there was like Bose and Killa and all them, and we beat them like 3-1, whatever, in the bracket. And so then
Yeah.
we got main stage, and then we just got wiped by the regular OG team. But it was like,
Yeah.
hey, it was an experience. You beat Nation, which
Yep.
like, and that crowd was around there. They're like, who are these guys? And I'm down there like hyping them up, standing up behind, let's go, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then like we get main stage in the booth and all that, and then we just get wiped. But I think we put up one good fight in one of the maps, but then it was just like a quick 3-0.
So, what was your first game that you ever played Synthurley?
First video game that I ever played. It was Pong. On Atari. It was, I remember Pong like when I was really really little, like at my grandparents' house. They had one set up in the living room, and like I remember me and my mom played. Like she taught me how to play Pong. That was the very first thing, and I remember fortunately like enough to like where we got the Nintendo NES, like the first Nintendo and all that kind of stuff, and obviously Mario and Duck Hunt, just get super into it. But arcade, like when we didn't have anything, it was like arcades, like back. I mean, all right, back in the day, like you'd go to Pizza Hut, it was a treat, right? Like you maybe went to Pizza Hut twice a year, and
Yeah.
then like you'd get $1 in quarters, and you get to go play Space Invaders or Gallagher or whatever, dude. I just remember being in the arcades like that before like I having a console when I was really little.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think for as far as answering the question, the first game I remember playing video game was Pong.
So, what's the first game you actually played on that you like said I fell in love with this game, and on console or PC that you just said, man, I this is it. My addiction is
Yeah.
this.
Let's see. The first game I fell in love with was it was actually it's a World Cup '94 soccer game.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it was
I
World Cup
rem-
'94 on Super Nintendo, like when that first came out. Like obviously I played a lot of regular Nintendo games, but like I would play that soccer game every single day up until I got the PlayStation 1, and I played Cool Borders and Ken Griffey Jr. like all day.
Dude, I love Cool Borders, bro.
Yeah.
I loved it. That was so
Everybody
good.
forgets about Cool Borders. That was so
Yeah.
good. And then eventually Tony Hawk when that
Tony
came
Hawk.
out. I got on PlayStation. Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on. Camera off. Messed up again.
All good, all good.
So yeah, man. I remember Cool Borders and everything. Ollies and all that, right? You
Yeah.
remember that? Dude,
Yep.
such a good game. So tell us, I know you stream, you said it earlier and I know, but how did you get into streaming?
I mean, I remember I had an account on Justin.tv. Like way back then, I used to follow some people on Justin.tv, and I was like, man, I wish I could do this. And that's when we were doing. I think MW3 was the game that I first started streaming anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I had joined Lethal when it was just a group of guys playing, and then we wanted to start streaming. And so I remember going online and everybody chipped in and we ordered a HD PVR, the first one, the Hupog HD PVR, and then we were just streaming Fan Wars, just battles and stuff like that. And then that's how I got it. It was nothing but the gameplay, and you would get the headset mic. And I remember like YouTube wasn't. I mean, YouTube was around, but there was like no tutorials of how do I hook all my console to the HDPVR, make sure I'm getting game chat and all that, and it just evolved. But I remember that was how I first got into streaming, and that was fun. And then we ended up doing a big charity event um, for a big nonprofit that was very successful. And I was like, okay, I think I can do this like on my own. It was obviously a team effort, but I was like, I think I can do this on my own. And so
Yeah.
just the evolution, baby steps. Everybody starts with it's just gameplay, and then when you're finally able to get a computer, like back in the day, you didn't have to have a really great computer, but you had one decent enough to capture the video and have a webcam and all that kind of setup. But I remember, yeah, that's how I pretty much got into it, like 2000, like MW3 era probably.
So Synthurley, so you got streaming since Justin TV, and then you came
Yeah.
back and started streaming again. Kind of, walk us through, where are you trying to get somewhere with your streaming, or you just do it for fun, or I know that we all would love to do this full time, right? But
Right.
what is it that you're trying to get to with it? I mean, if it's full time, or what are you doing to help you get there? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I've like you said, everybody would love to have this as their full-time job. I mean, even though it is a lot of work, which it is, but
Mm-hmm.
for right now, I just like I started the stream off with saying I just want to have a safe space for some people to come chill, hang out, and talk. Just be able to have good conversations with people. I'm not trying to be a multi-millionaire overnight. It's not going to happen, like unless you're super lucky, like that kid that had his whole DJ set up and laser show and that got like all that traction like last year at the end of the year. But like,
Yep.
um, yeah, just like I said, I'm not trying to do this full time. It's more just for fun, hanging out. I'll play different games too. I play COD. I streamed golf on Kick the other day, so PGA Tour. We'll pick some other games. But I love storyline and puzzle games, so
Yeah.
some of that content should be coming out too. There was a during COVID. Obviously, nobody had any work to do, and they were all at home. And I played a lot of story games and streamed them, and that actually was really good. But going back to work 5 days a week, it's like, all right, got to prioritize and make things where they want to be. So for right now, it's just for fun, and my schedule is slowly getting back to where I do have a normalized schedule when I get to streaming.
All right.
Right now, over the past month, I've been mainly focused on Kick, but I will be integrating back over to Twitch more often.
Okay.
Um, get some more DJ streams in too. That's another thing. Like I said, I was musical. I do DJ streams. Those are fun, super easy. Just a few things in the setup that I got to get figured out and finish first here at this new place. I mean, because obviously too, I mean, life hits you, and I've moved 3 times in the past 3 years. So, but now
Yeah.
we're in a spot that we're more settled for a while. So,
Good.
yeah, it's just more for fun, hanging out. Um, if you sub it, like I appreciate your sub so much. I do appreciate. When I said don't, I do appreciate if you ever sub to any of my channels because it's just a showing of support. But like I really, if you're there and you come in and say hello, it makes my day just as much, maybe even more often that you're just here spending some of your time with me.
Yeah, man. So what's your days right now that you stream, and so this
Yeah, right
way.
now it'll
Mhm.
be Tuesdays, and then so it could be any part of the day Tuesdays. Those are my fully off days, and Fridays. So I will be streaming later tonight after this podcast on Friday. Um, and I will do starting to integrate Monday nights. That'll be coming soon. Starting to integrate Monday nights, and then Thursday like late mornings before I head into work on Thursdays.
Okay.
Weekends are pretty difficult to stream as far as Saturdays and Sundays, just as far as scheduling. But mostly during the middle, like Monday through Friday. So Tuesdays and Fridays are for sure's. Integrating Mondays and Thursdays
All
pretty
right.
soon.
And do you have a Discord, Synthurley?
I have one that's in the works right now, so
Okay.
it'll still being finalized. So it's not public accessible yet.
All right.
But yeah, the Discord coming soon.
All right. And where can people find you if they want to reach you? I know you said
Um,
Twitch and Kick.
yeah, Twitch, Kick, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. It's Synthurley, Synthurley. Just like you see the nameplate in front of me on the video. Yeah, like I said, the unique name is able to get you the same name everywhere. You don't got to add a number, put an X or anything behind it. Like the unique name has helped in all
Yeah.
platforms.
So, sincerely, man, appreciate your time, for coming in and taking the time to talk to us. Obviously, it was a great podcast, great, conversation. It really didn't feel like an hour. We're an hour into it, but it's honestly like I love the stories, and you brought so many of my memories back, and it was like, damn, okay, I had forgotten about that, and so they start coming back, right? And so, is there anything else like that you'd like to share? That maybe we haven't covered, or anything else about you, or maybe some advice.
Yeah, I mean, I think we covered a lot, and it's true. Like we've been friends for a long time, and I feel like we could probably take this on for a couple hours. We could talk all night if we wanted to, but we're gonna cut it off here. Just something like I said, just start off the podcast too. You see it here, like again on the bracelet. You matter. I just want to put that out there again. Like, you don't have to carry all the weight that you're carrying. It doesn't have to be normal. You can have a conversation. There are people that are out there to help you and who do truly care about you. People that you never met. Some of my closest friends that I have now were made through tough situations and hard times. So hey, everybody goes through it, but it doesn't have to be normal. I just want to reiterate that, like, it doesn't have to be a normal thing of life. So yeah, you matter. I appreciate you so much, each and every one of you, Sniper. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. Everybody that's viewing this video, whether it's live or sometime in the future on any of the social media platforms or anything, thank you so much for tuning in, and it was a pleasure being here.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much, dude. Honestly, guys, these podcasts, they keep getting better, man. I honestly, the conversations just flows with a lot of you, and it's just there's so many amazing stories to be told, and I really am enjoying these. We're on our 18th episode, and it just, like I said, man, it's just hearing the stories is so amazing, man. Like I love hearing everything. Like I thought I knew everything about Synthurley, but hearing how Synthurley came about and some of the stuff that he brought up that I didn't remember, honestly, like it's just amazing how far back we go and how much we actually have in common, and what we've tried to do back in the days, what we've done and what we're trying to accomplish now, and just the way we think, it's just there are a lot of similarities, The one thing I can tell you is that, he remains very, very. He's a very humble person. He's a great individual, and honestly, he's one of those guys that you can count on. So if you guys, like he said, ever need something, you guys know we're always here. But there's always other individuals like Synthurley that that you can talk to as well. So. But I appreciate everyone, again, taking the time to listen to our interviews. And if you haven't yet, please go back and onto Under the Scope podcast and watch some of the videos that we have there. There's, I believe there's 15 up right now. There's 2 more that are in the works, actually, that have been completed. I need to upload them. Or I believe there's 13. I'm behind. Sorry, guys. But we'll get caught up with all the videos. They're already been edited, so we'll upload them. And you guys could watch the streams. But they're all amazing, and so I want to thank you guys for taking the time to jump on and be here with us. And if you guys are watching these on YouTube, you can always join us live Mondays and Fridays, normally around 5 p.m. PST, on Silver Sniper on _ either on Kick, YouTube, or Twitch. All right, everyone, with that, I appreciate you guys tuning in to our 18th episode of Under the Scope podcast. And I hope to see you guys in our next live episode of Under the Scope podcast. And if not, again, don't worry about it. You guys could catch the edited version on YouTube on Under the Scope podcast. All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in again. Have a great rest of your nights.